Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm making cube steaks and I'm going to make them with sauteed onions and a gravy. And that's how we're going to have them today. And I think the only season I'm going to serve on the meat is I'm using my discard. And I'm going to add pepper into it, and then what I'll do later is I will season the gravy with salt. And we're also going to I'll be showing you how to use the Jerusalem powder that we made as well, because we're going to put it in the biscuits. All we have to do is be careful that we don't add so much as it interferes with it, but just enough that we can get the usage out of it and give it a little bit of a flavor to it. So I just added some black pepper into my discard. I'm going to mix it up with the pepper first. Now I patted dried, washed and patted dry the meat. Now the reason we pat it dry is when you put a liquid on it, if you have water on it, it's going to run it off. So you pat it dry. So when you dip it in egg, or you use your discard or yogurt or buttermilk or whatever, it will stick to it. That's the object of getting the excess water and liquid off of it. So you can use this as the liquid that it'll hold on to. Now I just beat the pepper into my discard, and I'm going to toss the meat in it now. Now, I'm thinking about frying these up in butter and oil to be different. Another way you could do it, I know in the South they'll use bacon grease, but I would not use it. But some people do because of the stuff that's in it. And most of all, because it goes rancid, if you leave it in the back of the stove, you're better off putting it in the refrigerator. Then you don't have the rancidness, which affects your liver. And your liver affects your organs because it's got to tell them what to do. But if it's toxic, how can it tell the other organs what they're supposed to do? It can't. That's the whole object of keeping your bacon grease. If you insist upon using it, to please do it that way. Now we're coming into the holidays. We just started, but I know Thanksgiving is coming and we do a formal table setting. Well, I'd say semi-formal. I'm not going to have butlers and everybody waiting on me. It's pretty much get to the table and eat. But you know, we have our manners and stuff. Now see, I mixed it thoroughly like that. Now I'm going to let this set, and I'm going to sift my flour because I got a lot in it. Because it's my leftover flour from cooking other things. I tell you, I'm floored more and more when I find out people don't know how to set a table. They don't know what certain equipment is in the kitchen. Women have become so vacillated being women. It's unbelievable. I have a hard time believing it. Now see, these are the particles that don't go down. So I just put them in my compost to go out in the yard. In the winter, I'll be putting it in my organic trash can to go out by sanitation. But I think from March, well, sometimes the ground is below 32 until, well, anyway, anywhere in March or April, I'll start burying it again. But I'm still burying it now in November. Sometime in December, the ground's going to get so cold I'm not going to be able to break it, and that's when I start using the organic. All right, let's see, is this enough? I'm taking a look to see, is this enough? I want to say I hope it is, but I don't know. But we'll find out soon enough. I'm going to flour them now, but you can see they're well coated. No, my mother made me learn how to set a table. She made sure I learned so much in the kitchen. Because we were taught, in my time, at least in the house, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, so you better know how to cook. Okay, so I did. I don't make flops. But I try. But I have seen chefs throw their ideas right into the trash because they didn't work. So they too have their days trying to get things. They have an idea and trying to execute it. Sometimes it takes more than once to get it executed. And it's not how fast you cook. It never is. If you think speed makes you a chef or something like that, you can't call yourself a chef until you go to culinary school and you pass it. You can call yourself a chef. But nobody has the right to use that title except the people who have earned that title. Just moving this over because I have another big one. No, I'm not going to do it a second time this time. And these are the cube steaks, not from the supermarket, but from Staten Island Meats. As you can see, they do a really nice job. They're not cheap on it. And that's what you want, a good butcher. Yeah, I might have to add more flour onto this. They're really soaking that up. So let me get more. Well, that was whole wheat and breadcrumbs and seasoning. So this time I'll just put white flour. Finish it up with white flour. That should do it. I would use the Jerusalem artichoke flour, but I am going to be putting it in the biscuits, so it doesn't make sense to do that because I've got it going somewhere else. I just couldn't believe people were telling me, no, you can't do it, you can't do it. With Jerusalem artichokes. Well, I went and did it, and it does work. See, I know some of this you can't mimic because you don't have the seasonings in leftover flour and stuff like me, but you have your seasonings in yours. So it'll have a slightly different taste. But the basic of what we're doing, everybody can do. And yes, am I pressing hard? Yes, to make sure that it sticks. Because you have the lines cut through it as a cube. So by pressing it in, you can get that flour and stuff in there so it'll stick a little better. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. are left over in here, put a plate on it, and put it in the calendar, in the corner, so I can use it another day. And if it gets too gritty, you just sit there and strain it, and the particles will come out. Now, I'm gonna get some oil and some butter. I think I wanna do them in just butter and oil this time. Okay, I put in about a half a cup of oil, and I'm throwing in half a stick of butter. And I'm gonna get, I think, maybe 1 or 2 onions, and I'm gonna peel them and slice them in half moons. And I'm gonna have to move you again. Every time I get you in one spot, I have to move you again. That's going to be good. And you can watch me. How's that? 2 of them? Oh. Okay. This is fine. Let's see. That might be half moons. This half is splitting. So it's not going to be completely half moons. That quieted it down in a hurry, didn't it? Now the object is not to cook these till the point that they're tough. What you're actually trying to do is just cook them till they're done, or maybe a little pink, which would be better than cooking them all the way, because they will be tough. And I think by using a half a stick of butter and half a cup of oil, I'm going to get more of that buttery taste to go with what I've put on them, and I think it'll be very, very nice. can't move you over right now. I got too much there. See if I can get you over here and see them. But you have to see long distance. I do apologize for that. Now, why do I keep on moving? Because I don't want it to stick any more than it has to, if it's going to stick. So by moving it, it should not stick. At least you pray it doesn't stick. If you leave it in one spot too long, the chances are it will stick, and you'll need a spatula, a thin one, to get underneath to make sure you don't take the coating off or the crust of the steak. We should call it a crust because it is a crust that we fry on fajitas. Just a really big one. This one a little harder so it shrinks down. Get in here. Well, let me turn you over here for now. Well, I'll put you on pause and move you here. Okay, we have them fried, but this is too much for me to use, so I'm going to pour out. That's about 2 tablespoons. Take your onions you cut in half moons. No, that was only one onion. I forgot to do the secondary one. I know I counted it as 2 because it's an onion developing. put 2 tablespoons of, we left 2 tablespoons in, so we'll be doing 2 tablespoons of flour, but we're going to add, I think, a tablespoon also of the Jerusalem artichoke powder, which is a vegetable, well, it's a potato basically. So they don't want to admit it. It is a potato. Somebody had asked me how would I use it. This is one way. I'm going to show you the many different ways you can use it. If you have somebody who's prone to diabetes or it runs in the family, maybe all of this that you can do will help them. So we're going to saute these for a bit. Sorry, I have my flour right there. I'm going to be using whole wheat. I have a quart and a little over a cup of Jerusalem powder from a small patch in my yard. It wasn't that big. If you did, let's say 5 feet by 5 feet, I am sure you plant a few Jerusalem artichokes, give them a couple of years, and you'll have abundant supply. And I hope I didn't pull them all out of the ground. And I feed the yard there again with everything I could think of, and the kitchen sink included, as they say. I should end up with another lovely batch of Jerusalem artichokes. Because you can't dig them all out of the ground. I didn't dig them up, I just pulled. Whatever came up was what I took. So I'm sure some of them felt like they snapped underneath there and there was something big underneath, but I left it. Well, I am using whole wheat flour. See, the health of this country isn't the greatest anymore. Everybody's got, they don't have mental problems, they have other problems. Physical disability, mental disability, deformities. There's just too much of it going on right now. Now we're going to cook this, just to cook the rawness out and the onions, you know. And I'll get some vegetable stock and I'm going to use that as well. Every time I use my bone broth, my son say, I want to go to bed, but then I'm so tired. And I said, oh, really? They're so nice and relaxed. First off, I'm going to pour some bone broth in this. I'm not going to let it get away from me, as they say. And then we'll add the vegetable stock. As you can see, this is a very rich meal when you do things like this. Then all you have to do is add your flavoring, whatever flavoring you want. I'll probably add more salt and pepper, and that'll be it, because these stand on their own quite nicely. But this is how you make a really healthy gravy. You take the bone broth for your joints to prevent arthritis. You know how older people shrink? That is because the gristle in between the bones on the spine get thin and you don't give them the nutrients they need to replace that. So it squeezes tighter and tighter until finally it wears down, and then you have bone on bone and people have aches and pains. And it's very good to have bone broth. I made gelatin. I want to see if I can make jello with it. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to have to open a jar and try it. I just haven't gotten around to it. I want to learn, and I'm checking out how to make vanilla chips, chocolate, butterscotch chips. Then we can make any kind of chips we want, and then we could put them in our brownies and stuff, you know? So we'll just have to wait and see. Let's get some salt on that. I know it needs it. Oh, I'll use iodized salt today. But I'll use kelp later with the biscuits. Oh yeah, it smells good. I'm gonna have to get a spoon, I think. I'll use the measuring spoons, what the heck. We'll try a half a teaspoon. Boy, this is almost like an onion soup with all these onions. It needs a little more salt, and that's it. And see, you can have the gravy a little on the salty because you didn't add any salt here. You probably think I was going to set these in the gravy and let them cook. Well, I know those are already cooked. We're using a teaspoon this time. I think I'm pretty much done with this. That's done. I'll put it in a bowl. Fits. You did. There it is. Cube steaks with onions and gravy. Take care. Bye-bye.